think you should.
This is Fire Trader from firetrading.org. I just want to give you guys a little bit of market analysis and what I am looking at for tomorrow on the markets. And I want to give a quick little rundown on what I'm looking at on the short-term time frame, as in tomorrow and the next day or two, as well as kind of the longer-term time frame, maybe a month, a couple weeks. But we'll just go ahead and jump into it. As for SPY here, we are looking pretty strong. We do have a lot of upward momentum. If you guys follow me on Twitter, I talk a lot about the 5 moving average, and I use the 5 moving average religiously. That's one of my top favorite indicators, and I use it for a couple different things. One being overextensions, whether we're overextended to the upside or to the downside, and I'll get to that here in a second. The other one is the strength of the short-term trend, which the 5 moving average to me is going to measure the short-term trend. So when the 5 is pointing higher, that's an indication that the short-term trend is in a very strong bullish uptrend when it's pointing higher. When it's pointing lower, and when it's pointing sharply lower, it's an indication that we're in a short-term strong bearish trend. When the 5 is flat, that just means that we're kind of in a period of consolidation. But right here on SPY, what we're looking at the daily chart, and we are pointing higher on SPY. We are pointing higher, indicating that we are in a short-term uptrend, a strong bullish short-term uptrend. So we don't have any sign of flattening out yet, and we are breaking, a couple significant levels. We're breaking, we broke that range, as well as, we are coming up to this 2851 range. We're actually breaking it right now, and we've kind of got a little bit of this ascending trend line right here that we're running into. After that, we've got one more pivot right up here towards 332.95 and then 339.40. So right now we look strong. The stochastics are showing us that the momentum's higher. We're not seeing really too much sign of curling over yet on the stochastics. So, but we are getting into a little bit of overbought territory, but that's nothing to be concerned about. RSI, we are good. We are below 70. The RSI is pointing higher, indicating that the momentum is in an upward. The momentum is upward. So we are good. We're looking pretty bullish here. Now, a couple things that I do want to pay attention to here is going to be, for one, the weekly chart. I forgot to cover real quick, the 5 moving average. It doesn't matter what time frame, the candle always likes to touch the 5 moving average. So when we gap up off of the 5 moving average, we like to retrace back and touch the 5 moving average before we can continue trending higher in the direction that we're going. So, I'll give you a quick example. Here's a good example right here. Weekly chart, we gapped up off of it, we retraced back to it. We actually gave back a little bit more. We actually closed and opened up, extended off of it again to the downside, and we retraced back into it. Here's a good example. We closed down here, extended off of it, and we retraced back into it. Just more recently, this pullback that we've had, the first initial week, bam, we closed off of it, retraced back into it, until we closed off of it again, and then we retraced back into it again. So another good example right here, closed off of it, retraced back before continuing. So it's an overextension. When the candle gaps off of the 5 moving average, it likes to retrace back to it. And that's for any time frame. That could be monthly, weekly, daily, 4-hour, 15-minute, 1 minute. It doesn't matter. All time frames like to retrace back to the 5 before, and at least touch it before continuing that in the direction that it's going. Now, one thing to keep in mind here is that last week we closed extended towards the high of the week, extended off of the 5 moving average, which sets us up for a little bit of a pull this week. Basically, it's setting up that we're extended off of the 5, so we need to retrace back into the 5 in order to continue pushing higher. And we are extended off of that on the daily chart. The weekly chart. Daily chart looks good. We touched it Friday. We touched it today. Daily chart's showing us we're good to keep going. But the weekly chart's showing us we're a little overextended. Now, if we go a little bit further out, let's take a look at the monthly chart that just opened up today. Sorry, the monthly candle that just opened up today. Look how extended we are. The 5 moving average is all the way back down towards 334. I'm sorry, 315.34. So we are showing signs of being overextended, and this works for the daily or the monthly chart as well. Monthly chart, extended, retrace back into it, extended, retrace back into it. So extended, retrace back into it. So it works even on the monthly chart. So we're showing signs of overextension in the market. Okay, and this is SPY, right? Monthly chart, same thing, you know, as the daily chart. Stochastics are showing us that we're starting to get into overbought territory, but we're not seeing any signs of curling over yet and any weakness. RSI is still, you know, RSI is actually starting to flatten out a little bit. That's something to pay attention to. Next thing that I want to go over before we go into what I think is going to happen in the market tomorrow, I'll give you 2 scenarios. This is one thing that's got me very concerned. The QQQ being so far extended off of the 5 on the monthly chart. When we are this extended off of the 5, we can typically we start to see some pretty aggressive selling to retrace back to the 5. So I've got a very close eye on it. Actually, currently I'm in a QQQ call credit spread, taking advantage, because when we're this extended, typically what happens is we either get that aggressive sell-off or we get a pretty long period of consolidation, which I'm going to take advantage of the premium decay either way. Whether we get the sell-off or we get the choppiness, I'm going to take advantage of that premium decay, and that's one of my current positions that I'm in right now. So this has got me pretty concerned. Another thing to pay attention to here is going to be the weekly chart here. We are also extended off the 5 on the weekly chart, right? We are in overbought territory on the stochastics. We are in overbought territory on the RSI on the weekly. Now let's narrow it down one more time. Let's look at the daily chart. We are overextended on the daily chart after today. Tomorrow, unless we get a nice gap down, which I'll go over here in a second, we could see this actually act as a triple top. And it being extended, going into a significant resistance level like that, we're going to need some serious momentum, some serious volume to get us through that. And being that we're already extended to the upside going into that, it's throwing up some red flags, right? So, okay, so we'll just go into it because I don't want to make this video too long. What I'm looking at on the market tomorrow. One of 2 things can happen. If we gap up tomorrow, we are going to see a pretty aggressive sell-off. That's what I'm kind of seeing. We could see a pretty harsh flush out of the open, followed by a choppy day, and then the next following days are probably going to be pretty significant downside moves. Now, if we gap down tomorrow, then we have a chance to just kind of rally back a little bit. If we gap down, I'm looking for a little bit more of a pull out of the open, and then followed by a little bit of choppiness in the afternoon, and kind of maybe rally a little bit into close. But the problem is with the situation that we're in, being overextended on the Qs, so overextended on the Qs, is that we're gonna hinder the upside move on SPY. When we're so far overextended, we tend to see a lot of choppiness in the market, as well as, like I said, a lot of aggressive sell-offs. So in the month head, the couple weeks head, that's sort of what I'm looking towards. I'm looking at a choppy, aggressive downside market, basically. And you know, for tomorrow, if we gap up, look for the sell-off. If we gap down, look for a little bit more of a sell-off. And that's kind of what I'm looking at. All right. Thanks for watching. If you guys are interested, this charting platform is TrendSpider. If you guys want to take a look, I use this charting platform every day. Love it. Great platform. I'll put the link down in the description down below. You guys can check it out if you want. And thanks for watching. Hope you guys trade safe tomorrow. And see you next time.